At the far edges of the 19th century world, the Arctic stood as both a lived homeland and a testing ground for human ambition. Long before explorers and photographers arrived with cameras and scientific instruments, indigenous peoples such as the Inuit, Sami, and Chukchi had built strong societies across the polar regions. Their lives were shaped by seasonal movement, hunting and fishing, and an intimate understanding of ice, weather, and animal behavior. Families traveled by sled and skin boat. Clothing was sewn from fur and hide for survival rather than fashion, and oral traditions preserved history in a land where written records were rare. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, these communities found themselves increasingly observed, documented, and sometimes disrupted by outsiders who viewed the Arctic as both a scientific frontier and a symbol of endurance. Some of the most striking visual records from this era come from the work of William Bradford, whose monumental volume The Arctic Regions was published in London in 1873. Bradford, born in 1823 and best known as a painter and photographer, set out to capture Greenland and its people at a time when photography itself was still a demanding and uncertain process. His project received significant backing, including sponsorship from Queen Victoria, and was produced in an estimated print run of just 300 copies. Today, surviving volumes are rare, with several preserved in institutions in and around New Bedford, Massachusetts, including the New Bedford Whaling Museum. Bradford's images do more than illustrate landscapes. They freeze moments of daily life, whaling culture, icebound ships, and Arctic settlements at a time when the region was beginning to draw sustained global attention. Interest intensified during the 16th century, when European powers began to see the Arctic as a possible gateway to new trade routes. The promise of a northern passage linking Europe and Asia drove expeditions into largely unmapped waters. During the 17th and 18th centuries, explorers such as Henry Hudson of England, Willem Barents of the Netherlands, and John Ross of the British Royal Navy ventured north in search of navigable seas. By the 19th century, Arctic exploration increasingly shifted from commercial ambition to scientific inquiry. Expeditions were now organized to study geography, magnetism, ocean currents, and climate, often under the leadership of trained navigators or scientists. Sir John Franklin became one of the most famous and tragic figures of this era. His final expedition, launched in 1845 to chart the Northwest Passage, ended with the loss of all 129 men. The mystery surrounding their fate haunted the Victorian public and underscored the Arctic's lethal unpredictability. Later in the century, the Norwegian explorer Fridtjof Nansen brought a new level of scientific rigor to polar exploration. In 1893, he embarked on a bold experiment aboard the specially designed ship Fram. Rather than fighting the ice, Nansen intentionally allowed his vessel to become frozen into it, hoping to drift across the Arctic Ocean and gather data on currents and ice movement. The ship's rounded hull was engineered to rise with the pressure of the ice rather than be crushed, a revolutionary design for its time. During this expedition, Nansen reached a latitude of 85 degrees 56 minutes north, closer to the North Pole than anyone before him. The Fram expedition transformed understanding of the Arctic. Nansen demonstrated that there was no large undiscovered landmass north of Eurasia and confirmed that the Arctic Ocean reached depths exceeding 3,000 meters. His observations also revealed that warmer Atlantic waters, carried by a branch of the Gulf Stream, flowed beneath the Arctic ice as a deep current. These findings laid the groundwork for modern theories of ice drift and polar oceanography. As the turn of the 20th century approached, the race to reach the North Pole captured public imagination. American explorer Frederick Cook claimed in 1908 that he had succeeded, but his account quickly came under scrutiny. Critics pointed to vague descriptions, mathematical inconsistencies, and testimony from the Inuit who accompanied him, who later stated that they never lost sight of Greenland's mountains. Cook's claim was widely discredited. Robert Peary, another American explorer, followed with his own assertion in 1909. Traveling with Matthew Henson and a team of Inuit companions, Peary declared that he had reached the pole. Yet his navigational methods were flawed, as he lacked reliable means to calculate longitude. Subsequent analyses of his logbooks suggest that he fell short by several dozen kilometers. Despite these doubts, Peary's claim dominated public perception for decades. Technological advances soon shifted exploration from sleds and ships to the air. In 1926, Richard E. Byrd announced that he had flown over the North Pole. This claim, too, was later questioned. Reports from his pilot, Floyd Bennett, and discrepancies in flight timing suggested the aircraft could not have completed the journey as described. Historians now widely regard Byrd's claim as unlikely. The first widely accepted crossing of the North Pole came later that same year, when Roald Amundsen traveled over it aboard the airship Norge, accompanied by Italian engineer Umberto Nobile. Amundsen was already celebrated for reaching the South Pole in 1911 and stood apart for his meticulous planning and respect for indigenous knowledge. His Arctic flight marked the close of an era defined by perilous trial and error. The photographs from the late 19th and early 20th centuries capture this transitional moment. They show a region where indigenous traditions endured alongside foreign ships, scientific camps, and ambitious explorers. Seen through William Bradford's lens and those who followed, the Arctic of this period emerges not as an empty wasteland, but as a complex human landscape shaped by survival, curiosity, and the relentless pull of the unknown.